Alright, the game I'm looking at today is not an ace, but it was a mission completion. I completed TD12, big game hunting, and I did that in the British Tier 7 tank destroyer, the AT-7. TD12 big game hunting is to destroy an enemy heavy tank that's one tier higher than my vehicle and cause at least 2,000 hit points damage. Secondary is to win the battle. Reward was 50,000 credits and 750 free XP. The AT-7, very slow tank, and there's tons of weak spots. The machine gun port, this great big wedding cake cupola on the top of it. But for some reason, I seem to do well in that tank. I can't say that I really enjoy the tank that much, but I can't argue with the success. I've got a 64% win rate in that TD so far. I have vents and a shell rammer, and I put a camo net on it, and my loadout pretty much a standard small repair kit, med kit, and a manual fire extinguisher. I have 36 armor piercing, 10 premium rounds, and 4 HE rounds. The crew is fairly new. I haven't really concentrated too much in the British line of tanks. The commander is got Mentor, which I will change to 6 cents once that gets a little bit higher. Gunner has 89% repairs. Driver has 89% on clutch braking. Radio operator is repairs. Loader repairs, and the other loader is working on camouflage. I am really eager to get the tortoise in that line. So I've got a long way to go to get there. I've only got 38,000 so far toward the AT-15, and then to get to the tortoise. I do have the premium AT-15A, and that seems like a pretty good tank. So as much as I dislike these very slow moving tanks, I seem to enjoy the games in them. So let's take a look at the gameplay now. Alright, now for this fast-paced, rapidly evolving gameplay of the AT-7. Alright, yeah, this is, you may want to fast forward through a bit of this gameplay here. The AT-7 is not the most maneuverable tank out there, and of course I hate getting circled. So it may be self-explanatory of why I'm staying close to the red line over here, or readily guessed at why I'm there, because I don't like to get circled in this tank, and it's very easy if you get caught out in an open field or something for tanks just to run around you. So if I stay close to a building, a mountain, or a red line, at least I can put the butt of the tank up against that, and the enemy tank can't get around me. So you may notice that we're very heavily outnumbered on heavy tanks. They have 4, we have 1, and of course normally the heavy tanks would go over here into the city to brawl, while all of our mediums and others would be out there in the field. So I'm going to play like a heavy tank and roll over here into town and try to support you know, what we do have over here in town. I noticed that you know, with the CDC players, where they're just giving those away, it's nice when you have the unskilled CDC player on the enemy team, because the CDC really takes a lot of skill to play. It has no armor. It's a pretty good gun, but if you try to play it like a even a medium tank, or heavy tank, where you get up there and try to brawl or try to side scrape, you're doing it wrong, because you cannot side scrape in a CDC, as you will see what happens to this CDC that's immediately in front of me now. So I am zooming up, and of course the Czechoslovakian tank catches me inside. Fortunately, it didn't track me, and I don't plan to sit still out there for it to get more shots into me. So I'm gonna go ahead and push up here and try to support my heavy. I know the Super Pershing isn't a heavy, but it plays like a heavy. So and the one heavy is up here, just to our left also. T29, I bounced one shot, or I sent it into the fence. I don't know what happened to that first shot. and then I miss him again. But our T28 E4 Super version is holding out fairly well up there. And I just want this CTC to poke out. But you see, he tries to side scrape. Gets tracked in place, put a shell through him, he gets hit again, I put a shell through him. You cannot side scrape in a CTC, as he probably learned in this matchup. So they finish off the CDC. I see some tanks to my left, OI, so I'll peek out to see if there's any shots, but he's on the other side of the building. I'm going to go ahead and move forward again. And I see that Artie is targeting the WZ over there. So I decided I would go over here and see if I can help out on that WZ-111. And I position the tank so I've got the cupola hidden, and I start tracking that WZ. I don't have any shots to pin him, but I can keep him tracked and in place. One thing about this AT-7 or the British TD, it has a good rate of fire and it's accurate. So I can continue to put shells and keep this guy tracked in place. So our tanks can work on him. He can't angle his tank toward them to get the bounces. So just trying to keep him tracked in place. And then he makes a mistake and turns, and I get a shot, a pin penetration shot tied to it, and our guys gang up on him. You can say that the game is still close. We're 8-8, so it's fairly even. Now, looking at the field, all of our tanks have died over there, and it just takes way too long for me to drive all the way to the enemy base. So I think the best thing for me is just to stay back here by the red line so I don't get circled, and head back to try to defend our base. The British gun is it's a very accurate gun. It has a good rate of fire. It's fairly low alpha damage, so you got to put several shells into it. But when you're firing from a distance, it makes it a lot harder for them to hit your weak spots. So roll over this way. Our Artie sacrifices himself to roll down there and try to take out those guys. I see this another CDC up in there in the town, so I get a shot into him. Someone else finishes him off. Now I'm going to go down here and try to help out our 844. 6 to 7, we're behind one tank. And I don't know what this bug is, that if I auto aim on something, it locks my, looks like the reticle pointing over to my left out in the field, even though I'm actually aiming at the tanks, the ELC and the E25 down there. So take out the E25 and get a good shot into the ELC. And then I see the AMX 5100, and I think that's a much more dangerous target, so I'm going to aim up there, get a nice hit into him. And you see that he fired at me but missed. So from a distance, a lot harder for them to hit your weak spots. And I'm just hoping he'll poke out again, and he does. I get the kill shot on him. So we've dealt a little bit with the danger to our base. Again, I figured my best bet is to stay back here close to the red line and defend our base, while our more mobile tanks go and engage the enemy closer to their base. Unfortunately, they have a Hellcat and that Czechoslovakian tank back there defending their base. And boy, it's just it's almost like you grit your teeth when you're going uphill in the British TD. It's like you want to get out and push or something. It just is so slow. So I see the Centurion is engaging their what is that, Ripper Patton out there, and I'm sure hoping he gets him, because it's going to take me too long to get over there to get target on it. And fortunately, the Centurion takes out that Ripper, so we don't have to deal with him. As you can see from the mini-map, our guys that were pushing to the base have died, and our others in danger. So I'm trying to move over to get this guy into my render range quickly as I can. He shows up, I auto lock on him but missed that shot, and now I change to try to aim in. And of course, I missed that shot. But I don't miss that one. So get a good damaging shot into him before he disappears. I'm gonna go ahead and push up, and I don't want him to disappear too long. I know he's in that area, so I'm gonna push up and try to light him up again. This T-29 has been working well with me over here. I don't worry as much since I've got him as support. I don't worry about this guy getting out and circling me, because you have to deal with that auto-load. So I finish off that TVP, and I bounced a shot from the Hellcat. Unfortunately, time to back up. So I know that the Hellcat has I seen the slow British TD in the pretty much the middle of the map. Probably, if I was the Hellcat, I would be guessing that probably I would be pushing down the low area, or maybe head back over to town to try to, you know, go whatever would be the fastest route to the base. Which of course is exactly what I'm not going to do. Our Centurion lights up the Hellcat. Unfortunately, the Hellcat manages to take out the Centurion. I just take a desperation shot out there, and also let him know I'm still over here in the middle of the map. And so now I'm going to go up here to the top of the map, because I figure the Hellcat has pretty much one path. He's probably going to come up along the 2 line, and right around IH area, it narrows down into basically a narrow path, and I think that that's where the Hellcat will come. And if I can meet him face on, I can get a couple of shots into him before he can get 2 shots into me. He'll get 1, but I think I can get a couple into him before he can hit me again. So I'm going to go ahead and roll over here and try to block that narrowing on this side of the map toward the field. And since I drive the Hellcat, I also know that the Hellcat has a very slow turret now, and it also has almost no backup speed. So I catch the Hellcat out, I get the shot into him. Now he's trying to back up, and the Hellcat now has no reverse speed. He gets a good shot into me, but I get the second one into him before he can back out of there. So now basically it is cap or hunt down the Artie, and with my blazing speed, I won't be hunting down the Artie. So I'm going to turn and just try to take the most direct route that I can toward the base. We still have plenty of time. And our armchair generals, the backseat drivers, are all stating the obvious, and have been for quite a while. One of the funny ones to me is, like, he says AT-7 move, and yeah, I realize if you're looking at AT-7, it looks like it's not moving because it goes so slow, but it actually is moving. And this part actually reminds me of one of my favorite bands, Smashing Pumpkins. So this pretty much, you can fast forward through this part, because this is just going to be a low, slow roll toward the enemy base, and unless the Artie just decided to kamikaze and come straight at me, there's very little chance that I am going to get any shots into that. The 69 would have a much better chance of hunting down Artie and finishing it off if he so desired. But basically, the 69 would be a one-shot. If Artie got lucky, you could finish him off. Not sure what the F40, the US Artie, he could hit me, run away. It's not like I could chase him down. So our best bet for me, I'm just planning to go cap, and I believe that's what the T-69 is planning to do all along. So since I'm just rolling along, I decided to go put it in 3-camera mode and just, you know, kind of stroll around my tank, look at it splashing through the water. And see how it just slowly, majestically grinds up this slope. You'll see the speed really start to drop off as it climbs up this hill here. Agonizing, agonizing. Can I get to the base and get some cap points? Oh, can I? And like, maybe I can go this way. It's not as steep. I roll up. Still got a minute 13. and finally crest the hill. And I am going to get some cap points. I'm trying hard not to roll over a tree or anything, just to let Artie know where I'm at, just in case. So go ahead and roll onto the cap, and because the other guy's got all the cap points, I'm going to go ahead and roll over to this side of the base just in case he decides to jump out of the bushes and come running at us. But actually, we never see this Artie. He doesn't fire any shots that I saw. He doesn't come out to try to defend the base. He decides just to save the money for any repair call. So that was first class and getting a mission done in the AT-7. Alright, taking a look at the results screens, it was a first class. I received a bruiser, a duelist, fighter, and fire for effect. And team damage, I was second, and team damage 2,176 damage, 4 kills, 1,130 base XP. On the detail report, I fired 31 shots, 19 hits, 12 pins, total damage 2,176, 843 from a distance of more than 300 meters. I have received 4 hits, 2 of them pinned and 2 of them were ricochets. I blocked 490 damage by armor. I shot 8 different vehicles and killed 4 of them. Damage due to my assistance 573. Base capture defense points, I got 23 capture points. Distance travel 2.89 kilometers. Credits I received 36,994, and after auto repair and ammunition made a profit of 12,358. Battle lasted 13 minutes and 21 seconds. It was a ×2 for the first victory of the day, so that was 3,390 XP with 168 free XP. Alright, and as I said, this was more about getting the TD mission, and also as a first class, and it's just basically I thought it was a pretty good game in the AT-7. Normally it's not a tank that you would expect to be able to do very much at the end of the game because it's not that mobile, but just kind of thinking ahead and where the enemy was going to position itself, felt like it was a pretty good game. The mission itself, I got 50,000 credits and 750 experience. It was the TD-12 big game hunting. That's the second set of missions, the one that gets that American tank destroyer. Basically just kill a heavy tank that was 1 tier higher, and for the honors is survive and win the battle. So hope you enjoyed the video. If so, please leave comments below and hit that like button. Thanks.